All right, we're going to set up another 10 minutes here, and I kind of wanted to expand on what I talked about last time, right at the end there, about your goals. You know, like setting up wealth as a goal, as an example. I didn't, in my life, set up goals for myself, really. I mean, there were certain things, like I knew I was going to do this, I was wanting to go do that, but I didn't really set up a goal. And I don't know that necessarily you need to. It's one of those, like, you kind of need to play a little bit of life by ear, right? You need to be able to tactically react, but you also probably want a strategy, or at least I found that later in life I've wanted a strategy, and I wonder how much my life might have changed had I been considering these strategies earlier in my life. And this isn't something like, you should save $100 every month by starting at the age of 13 because you'll be, nothing like that. I mean, that you do the math, you can make the decisions on your own about what you can gain from that kind of a thing. But what I'm talking about more specifically is just setting up goals for yourself. What is it that you want out of your career? What is it that you want out of your life? Is it that you want stability? Is it that you want security? Is it that you want to do new and exciting things a lot? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to experience other cultures? Do you want to interface with other cultures? There's a lot of things that you can kind of take into consideration beyond what you have considered. I'll just say it that way. And that probably goes for everybody. And specifically, as a young person growing up, what paths lie ahead of them and might be available to them that they have not considered. Now, I know I am very much nobody is special. We're all cut from the same cloth, that kind of a thing. I very much believe that and live my life that way. But people's family members, people who have expectations or invested in you, will tell you you can do anything you want, right? If you pursue it, you can reach it. And for the most part, thank God, in our country, with our laws as they are today, as of this recording, that's mostly true. If you put forth a great deal of effort and just find your stride, you can be successful. Now, can you be a millionaire? Maybe, probably not. Successful, yes. Depends on what your definition of success is, I guess. And that's the point of this video. What is your definition of success? What are these goals? Or I guess I was leading to success. So what goals should you create to then be successful? That's really the question you're kind of asking yourself. And I say that goals thing, I don't know. Like, I think that can really be played by ear. I think what you really want to do is figure out what your measure of success is. What does it mean to you to be successful? And I think that definition, or what you find and discover as your measure of success, is going to adjust throughout your life. And I think it would be important and valuable for you to reevaluate that from time to time. Just kind of always keep it in the back of your head. You know, I had considered, say, like for myself, success was money. There was a time in my life where if I wasn't making enough money, I wasn't successful, and I was doing it wrong. Whatever it was, life. I was doing it wrong because I wasn't making enough money. And that was a painful life. I was constantly stressed. I was constantly anxious. I could never relax. Horrible sleep, gained a ton of weight. It was just stressful and horrible. It was just not fun. And later, now more, recently, I've kind of adjusted what my measure of success is, and that shifted a lot more away from money and more to mental health, really. How much can I consume, be involved with, explore, engage with, and still remain healthy mentally? And when I mean healthy mentally, like calm, clear, relaxed, the ability to think clearly, not cluttered, like not have your mind just cluttered all the time. There's something calming, there's something so peaceful, so zen about that state of mind that, to me, that has become a very strong measure of success for me, is my ability to maintain that zen during my daily activities, during the other things that I'm trying to do as other measures of success. I still like my career. I still want to push forward in my career. I would like to see my career grow. But for right now, I'm okay with where it is. I'm okay with what's happening. I want to pull in as much as I can where I am and always keep my frame of mind on what I'm doing as to how can I gain experience from what I'm doing. What is it about what I'm doing right now, today, these projects I'm working on? How can I frame them in a way to express the amount of experience that I've gained from them? So as an example, we had an outage that happened at work, and I, as my role as a site reliability engineer, I'm investigating the cause of those outages and then making recommendations on fixes and kind of assigning the work out to the different teams that are required in order to pull all those strings together and get it tied off correctly, right? And when described that way, you can see how such a skill set, such experience could be useful. Someone who can oversee dozens of different independent systems, understand how they interface with each other, find the nuances of where things slip through the cracks, put together a document that proposes solutions to fix that type of problem, organize and distribute that work. Like, those are all valuable. But if I were to just put it in the context of how I see it working on it, is I'm reading through hundreds of logs of lines of log files, writing parsers to just pick out specific messages from those, aligning timelines, and just trying to make sense of all that data. And when it's put in that context, it's not nearly as, let's just say, impressive on, say, a resume, right? Like in a resume, I parsed hundreds of logs of lines to find where mistakes happened in the systems. Okay, lots of people have done things like that. But when I pull it out into the context of the greater and like reframe it as like, and it's not a lie, it's just a like, oh yeah, no, because this, parsing those 100 logs of line and finding those mistakes led me to this, which allowed me to do this, which allowed others to do that. And you frame it in that way, and you're able to then create a context for how you can describe your success to others, and then by doing, and yourself, really describe those successes for yourself, so that you can then create these backdoors of like, oh, I've experienced this type of success here, and that's as far as I could go. And then later I experienced another type of success here, or did some other thing, and I found that back door. Those types of things, like, oh, when you organize work like this, it also does this, this, and this, or something. Those types of things, when you reframe and restructure the way you think about your experience, that's when you start opening those doors. And so I think it's important to reflect on that kind of thing. And this, I think, is where the Zen part of it really comes into to shine. And like, why would being Zen about this? And in my experience for myself, and I imagine there are a lot of other people who experience things similar to me, is when I was so focused on measuring my success as being money driven, say, I wanted to learn as much as I could and do as much work as I could, prove my value and elevate my career and status into a place where I could make that kind of money, or work really hard and create a new product that nobody else has created, or another product to compete with other things, and become successful that way, creating my own company, say. When I was focused on all that, it was just constant rush in my mind to try and leverage the best that I could of all these things. And when I refocused my measure of success to being more Zen-like, I'm able to, and again, it causes you to relax, it clears your mind, and you can then more easily reflect on restructuring the experiences you do have. And when you do that, you gain much more insight into the life that you've been living. And I think that will open up more for you as far as understanding what it is that you want out of life. Where do you find happiness? Where do you find comfort? Where do you find the human interactions? All those things, when you reflect on your own life, you take that time to reflect on that, and understand yourself, you can make easier moves towards your measure of success. Like I said, for myself, I found those things. Oh, wow, that went by fast. This is, I think, an important topic and valuable for people who are especially starting out young in their career. Evaluate what it is that you want out of success, like what you evaluate as success, and allow yourself to reflect on that. Allow yourself the opportunity to restructure your experiences and reframe them in a context that you could then maybe describe to others. And just do that exercise of reframing and restructuring your experiences that you've been having. And I think that you will start discovering more about what you enjoy in your life, in your career, in what you do, that you can start then reframing your measures of successes, and then you can more easily and more readily see the path to them, let's say. So for me, when I started seeing how the work that I was doing was being used in this way, and I kind of, again, restructured the context of it, and like, what am I gaining out of experience out of this? I found it very valuable. I'm like, this wasn't an experience that I was necessarily expecting to get, but I am getting it, and that's great, and that's amazing. And because it's so amazing, I'm enjoying it, and it turns out I can get to that enjoyment, I can get to that success in an easier, calmer, less restrictive way than some of the other measures of successes that I've had in the past that don't even seem as important to me anymore. Of course, it's kind of easy to say that when you make good money, right? So I don't know. It's hard because I make good money. So how valuable is this insight if I've already kind of achieved that success of money? I mean, I didn't achieve as much money as I wanted, that I said my success level was, but I do make enough money that that's never an issue for us. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Everybody's advice, everybody's experiences, they get chopped up in their own brain, in their own way, and so you have to be diligent to do it yourself. You have to be diligent to take in information for yourself and figure it out for yourself.